Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Elle and today I'm going to be sharing with you my April wrap up. So April was an amazing reading month for me. I read so many books. I read 18 books, which is very good for me. I'm trying to find my stats. I took a picture of it. So I read 3 physical books, 10 audiobooks, and 5 Kindle books, which is very good. So I read a variety of different books this month. It was just a great reading month for me towards the end of the month. This past week I have not read a ton because I've been out of town. I went to the Eras Tour in Atlanta, Georgia, and it was so amazing. I stayed with some family, so I wasn't really on social media a lot. I was just very in the moment. So let's get right into my wrap up, and I'm so excited to chat about all of these amazing books I read this month. The first book I finished and read in April was The Serpent and the Wings of Night. I always forget what this title is, but this is a fantasy romance, a slow burn. So our heroine is a human and she basically gets adopted by the Vampire King when she was young, and now that she's older, she is going through these trials, kind of like Hunger Games-esque with all of these other vampires, and she's a human, and she has to team up with another vampire to have an ally in the trials. And so she teams up with Rain, who is the hero, and they have to work together throughout the whole trials and help each other out. It is a slow burn romance. It is amazing. It is so good. There's so many amazing action scenes in this one with the heroine in battle, and lots of stuff going on with vampires trying to eat her and attack her, and it's just such a great time. Lots of secrets were unveiled at the end, and so I'm very excited to read the next book in this series, but I'm just so excited that I got to this one. I just absolutely adored it. Such a great fantasy romance. Also a little bit hate to love with that slow burn romance and kind of friends to lovers. I just really like 5 stars. Amazing. So good. The next book I read was Falling into Bed with a Duke by Lorraine Heath. This one was so good. I gave this one 4 stars. So our heroine, she is kind of a wallflower, and she doesn't think she's ever going to get married because her like inheritance, and she thinks people are just out for her money, basically, for her dowry. So she meets the hero at a pleasure club, and they have one night together, and they keep going back to each other and seeing each other, but they wear masks, and they keep their like masquerade masks on, but they have so much chemistry and angst with each other, and so they kind of don't know who each other is, but he knows who she is, and it's really good, very angsty, and she doesn't want to fall for him because she thinks that he's only out for her money. I really like this one. I did give it 4 stars. It's not my absolute favorite from Lorraine Heath, but it is a solid romance from her. The next book I read in April was Beautifully Broken Control by Catherine Cowles. So this was my first book from this series, and I really like this one. So our heroine is basically on the run from her past life. She basically helped the FBI take down her father, who was a businessman, and he was stealing millions and millions of dollars from his clients, and so she basically turned him in. So she is shunned from her family. Her family wants nothing to do with her, and the public really blames her and her family for all of the things that went wrong with the clients, and so she basically is like, I need to get out of here. I need to kind of heal and do my own thing. So she basically escapes to this small town and starts living there and goes under a totally different alias. And so that's when the hero comes in. The hero is a billionaire, and he's coming to the small town to kind of escape his life. It's very hectic. He wants kind of a more chiller small town life, and a lot of his friends live in the small town. So that's when he meets the heroine, and he can tell right away that she is keeping a secret. She is kind of friends with his like big friend group, and he's kind of suspicious of her, but when he gets to know her, he starts to really like her and gets to know her story of what she's been through. And there's stuff going on with some suspense with her family. And I really like this one because she really was to him like, I don't want your money. I have had money in my life before. I just want nothing to do with it. And I really like that. in this romance, and he and her really connected on a lot of things, and I just really like this one. I really like the suspense in this one. I just thought it was so good, and he's very protective over her, which I absolutely adored. So 5 stars. Such a good romance from Catherine Cowles. So now I'm going to talk about 2 books I don't have physically because I want to get those out of the way. Well, actually it's 3 books. So the first one is Take My Daddy, I'll Take Yours by Janika Snow. So I didn't really love this one. I think I gave it like 3 stars. I thought it was kind of meh. Basically what happens is the heroine goes to her father's wedding, who he's marrying this young girl who is like the same age as her. She's really freaked out by it, and she basically has one night stand with this older man at the wedding, and she later finds out that it is her dad's new wife's dad, and so that's kind of where the reference to the title is. I did really appreciate that it was a plus size heroine. I just thought it was fine. It was basic, not too exciting. Like, I've read other books by Janika Snow that I've really liked that are part of her like monster romance series. And then the other book I want to talk about is Echoes of You by Catherine Cowles. This actually releases today, Tuesday, May 2nd. This book is fantastic. It is the second book in, I can't remember what this series is called, but it is the second book in her newest small town romance series, and it is amazing. So our heroine and hero have been best friends since they were young, and the heroine moved away, and now she's coming back into town to kind of get away from her abusive ex and to escape and find solace in her best friend. And so she starts reconnecting with all of the people in the small town, and just like rekindling up their friendship, because when she was in this abusive relationship, she just never really got to talk to the hero because her boyfriend would be very jealous of him. And she is also going through with a lot of trauma from her father, who was abusive towards her. So there is lots of triggers for domestic abuse, domestic violence. So I think I listed all of the triggers in my review on Goodreads, but I just love this one. It was so good. Such an amazing friends to lovers romance. The hero is so touch her and you die, and I just loved it. I love Nash so much. He is one of my favorite heroes now from Catherine Cowles. I've heard the audiobook is really amazing, so I would recommend that. I just love this one. The suspense in this one is so good. This series definitely has a lot more suspense than her Tattered and Torn series, but I really enjoyed it. I just love this one. Amazing to lovers romance, and it is just so good. Definitely check it out. I give it 5 stars. It was incredible. And the next book that I read was If This Is Love by Julie Ann. I actually DNF'd this one at 32%. I just wasn't loving this one. I had read one other book by Julie Ann that I absolutely loved. It was amazing, but this one just wasn't for me. I thought there was not enough build-up in the beginning. This is a age gap cowboy romance, and I just couldn't really see like why the heroine really liked the hero other than he was older than her. For me, there wasn't enough build-up. Like, for example, in like Welcome to the Dark Side by Gianna Darling, there's so much build-up to getting to like why she loves him, wants to be friends with him. This one I just didn't love, so I DNF'd it. I'm probably not going to pick it up again, but yeah, so I think I gave that one, like, I usually don't rate my DNFs on Goodreads, but I do consider them read because I spend a lot of time reading them, and it's kind of a waste for me. But anyways, let's get into all of my other books from this segue. The next book I read was The Right Move by Liz Tom Ford. This book was absolutely amazing. One of my favorites of the year. It was incredible. I read some of my top favorites of the year this month, and this was one of them. This is a fake dating sports romance / forced proximity. So our heroine, basically, she broke up, well, her boyfriend cheated on her, and she broke up with him, and now she doesn't have anywhere to stay because they shared an apartment together. And so the hero's sister, who she's best friends with, is like, well, why don't you stay with my brother? He has an extra room. And so she's like, okay. And Ryan, the hero, is just like, no freaking way. Are you staying with me? He really just thinks that Indy is a big, like, super messy. She's very colorful. He's very organized, more of an introvert. And so he ends up letting her stay with him. And they basically devise this plan to fake date because his like general manager slash boss wants him to be more of a family man, and she needs to bring a date to her best friend's wedding where she will see her ex there. And so they decide to fake date, and it is so, so good. I love this one. I loved Ryan so much. His like act of love is acts of service, and I just love that so much about him. He is like the sweetest hero ever. So sweet. I just absolutely loved him. I gave this one 5 stars, of course. It was incredible. I love their romance so much. I love all these sports elements, and we get to see some of the other characters in the series. This was just so, so good. I really, really loved it. 5 stars, amazing, top read of the year. The next book I read was Haunting Adeline by H.D. Carlton. This one is a dark stalker romance. I listened to this one on audio, and it was incredible. I highly recommend the audio. Even though this is pretty long, it just flew by so fast, and it made me really love this one. I don't think I would have loved this one as much as if I had listened to the audio of this one. So this is a stalker dark romance. Our heroine basically owns this really spooky manor, and she basically falls for her stalker. The hero is stalking around her house, watching her, and she'll like bring back guys to mess with him and like have them pleasure her in front of him, and then those guys disappear. There was like a plot in this one, but not like a ton of plot. It was very character driven. But it was just really good. I gave this one 4 stars. I really liked it. I'm excited to see where the story is going to continue. I didn't want to give too much away about this one because I feel like it's better if you go in blind. But I really like this one. 4 stars. Audiobook is amazing. Definitely go check this one out. So this month I also started the Ravenel series. So this is the first book, and I really, really liked this one. I give this one 4 stars. It's not my favorite in the series, but I thought it was a very good introduction. So the Ravenels is such a fun series. So let's start with, okay, our heroine is a widower, and she was married to like the earl of the family, and so now distant cousins are coming in to basically take over the legacy of like their family, and she has been taking care of her late husband's 2 younger sisters, and so these like distant relatives come in, and one of them is the hero, and they get off on a horrible start in this book. They both like hate each other, but then they start hanging out more, and they have lots of chemistry together, and it's really fun. This is very more like an introduction to the book series. There are lots of characters that we get introduced to. The sisters are hilarious. They, well, there's actually 3 of them. 2 of them are twins. So the twins are so funny. They do all of this like crazy fun stuff. And then we have Helen, who is the older sister, and she's more quiet and introverted. And we kind of get an insight into her book because she is basically going to be married to convenience to this very well-known Welsh man. He owns like a department store. So I really like this one. It was very more introductory, and it's a hate to love romance. They have lots of chemistry together. I really enjoyed this one. 4 stars. The next book I read this month was Hate by Tate James. I listened to this one on audio. I really liked this one. I gave this one 4.5 stars. So our heroine, Madison Kate, she basically was at Riot Night, which is this, I think, like fighting, like underground fighting ring, and she basically gets framed for something that she didn't do. So she gets shipped off to boarding school for like a year, and now she's back in town, and her father is a really horrible guy, like doesn't really like her, doesn't pay attention to her. So she goes back to her house and finds out that the guys that framed her are living there. So she has to live with them. She absolutely hates them. This is a why choose hate to love romance. Motorcycle, well, no, this is not motorcycle romance. This is more like bully, kind of high school. And so she's trying to figure out why they framed her, and all of this stuff is happening, but it's also like hate to love, and she's kind of feeling things for some of the guys. I really like this one. I'm excited to continue on with this series. I gave this one 4.5 stars, and I'm very excited to see what this series is going to go. I really liked all of the characters. Madison Kate is kind of a very fun character. She's very fiery, and she doesn't take shit from anyone, and I am just so excited to see where the series is going to go. The next book that I read this month was a reread of A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. I loved my reread of this book. Still 5 stars. I just love Cassian and Nesta so much. This story just has so much healing and healing from trauma and lots of action, and I just love this series so much. So I'm not going to say too much about this because this is just a reread, but it was incredible. 5 stars. I just love the ACOTAR series so much, and I wanted to do a full reread of ACOTAR before Crescent City 3 came out this January. So I'm glad I did that, and I previously read the whole Throne of Glass series this past summer. Which I'm very excited to have seen all of the Easter eggs now, and I'm so excited for Crescent City 3. The next book I read was Coach, and this is a single dad sports romance, kind of unrequited love / friends to lovers romance. I love this one. I give this one 5 stars. If you want to hear more of my thoughts, I did a whole reading vlog. I'm reading 4 new releases, but I really like this one. Our hero and heroine were best friends in college, and then the hero was about to make a move on the heroine, but then he finds out that his ex-girlfriend is pregnant, and so he basically ghosts the heroine for years, and now he's back at their alma mater, and he is the head football coach, and she works there too. So a lot of unrequited feelings come up, but he has to look out for his young daughter. It's really, really good. If you want to hear more of my thoughts, definitely check out that vlog because I read Coach, Echoes of You by Catherine Cowles, Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez, and If This Was Love by Julianne. So the next book I read was Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. I love this one. I listened to the audio of it. I'm going to give it 5 stars. It was incredible. So our hero and heroine do not get off on the right foot. That she is a ER doctor, and she is vying for this new position of director, I think, and then the hero comes in and he basically kind of sweeps it off her feet, and she thinks that she now has no shot at the job, and they have a really not meet cute where something happens where he kind of comes off as a jerk, but then he apologizes by sending her a letter, and so that's kind of where their friendship starts. They write each other letters, and he kind of really opened up to her and was like, I have a lot of anxiety. I'm sorry that it came off that way. So that's where the romance kind of starts, and it's really, really good. The heroine is actually going through a lot at the moment. She just recently got out of a really bad divorce, and her brother is going through dialysis, which means that is when your kidney is failing, and so he needs a kidney donation very, very badly, and the hero basically is like, I can do it, I am a match, and she is like, okay, well, is there anything that I can do to repay you? And he's like, there is one thing, if you fake date me and or a date to my brother's wedding with my ex-girlfriend. So it's kind of a fake dating romance, but it has a lot of emotion in it. It was incredible. I love this one. It was so, so good. The audiobook is amazing. Again, if you want to hear more of my thoughts, definitely check out that blog. The next book I read was Powerless by Elsie Silver. I gave this one 5 stars. It was absolutely incredible. This is a friends to lovers romance, small town romance. I listened to this one audio. Highly, highly recommend. So our heroine is basically running away from her wedding with the hero, Jasper. And it's because she finds out that her soon-to-be husband cheated on her, and so she didn't really want to marry him anyways. It was a set-up marriage with her father, like a business deal, and so she basically runs away with Jasper, her best friend from childhood, and they decide to go on this road trip, and they both had unrequited feelings for each other for years, and then they finally kind of toe the line of friends to lovers, and it is so, so good. I really love this one. I love seeing Jasper as a very introverted hero. He is also a hockey player, so there's a little bit of a little bit of sports aspect in this one. I just really loved this one. I finished it in a day because it was so, so good. Highly, highly recommend. 5 stars. The next book I read was the second book in the Ravenel series, Marrying Winterborn, and this one was amazing. So, so good. This is a marriage at convenience between Reese Winterborn and Helen Ravenel, and so Helen is very introverted, and they kind of got off a little bit on the wrong foot because she is very introverted and sheltered, and he tried to kiss her and she kind of freaked out a little bit. And so now they're married and they are exploring their desires for each other, and it's really, really good. He gets very protective over Helen, and she just feels so much attraction to him. And Rhys is so swoony. I loved him so much. He just wants to protect her, and he knows how Helen works as like a person. She's very shy, and I just really love this one. It was really, really good. I gave this one 5 stars. I just love how protective Rhys was over Helen, and I love seeing the whole family. It was just so good. I don't even know how to describe this book other than it was just so good. I absolutely love this one. I listened to it on audio and it was incredible. The next book I read was The Words by Ashley Jade. Oh my gosh, this is now a top favorite ever. This book was incredible. I gave it 5 stars. It was so good. This is a second chance, hate to love rock star romance. So our hero and heroine kind of were like friends in high school, and then the hero betrays the heroine and she doesn't talk to him for years and years, and now he has become a huge rock star, and she is contacted because he needs a sober companion, and she's the only one they think that can help them with him because he is just going off the rails, like drinking, doing drugs, like the total rock star life, and nobody else has been able to help him before. And so she agrees to do it, and she has to see him again, and it brings up all of these old feelings. She absolutely hates him now, and it is just so good. It's so angsty. She wants to hate him, but she like secretly loves him deep down, and it is just so good. It's very emotional. It takes a lot out of you, but it's so incredible. I just love this one so freaking much. So good. I can't wait to read Memphis and Skylar's story, but this was just incredible. Absolutely amazing. The next book I read was Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. After reading Yours Truly, these characters from the first book were in Yours Truly, and I just like love them, so I wanted to go back and read their story, and I'm so glad I did. I listened to the audio of this one. Zachary Weber narrates the hero's perspective, and he's just amazing, and I just adore this one. So our heroine basically gets in a car accident by accidentally almost hitting a raccoon in the small town, and the hero is the one that helps her, and they kind of have like a moment where they click, and they end up spending a one night together, and then she goes off back into the big city and he stays in the small town, and she thinks she's never going to see him again until she has a girls' weekend, and they're actually staying at his house because he is renting out this like familial like manor thing. And so they like reacquaint with each other, and all of those like all of their chemistry is coming back, and it's just so good. So this is a reverse age gap romance, and so the heroine basically works in like the big city, and she is a doctor, but she is going through a lot at the moment. Her family is very not supportive of what she wants to do. They want her to like follow the family legacy of becoming the director of the hospital and all this stuff, and all she wants to do is just be with the hero in the small town, and she visits the small town like every week to spend time with him, and it's just such a sweet romance, and she really has to figure out, does she want to, you know, please her parents or please herself? And I just really loved that about this book, and I just like, it was just so good. There were so many funny like small town moments. There is a really adorable goat in this one. I just really fell in love with this book and these characters. It was so amazing. 5 stars, a top favorite of the year with Yours Truly. It was just incredible. The last book I read in April was Devil in Spring by Lisa Kleypas. This is, I think, my favorite of the series. So this is such a funny book. Pandora is such a funny character. She's one of the twins that I mentioned earlier, and she is just so quirky and funny. And so what happens in this one is that she basically gets like stuck in this fence, and Gabriel, the hero, has to help her out, but then somebody sees them doing this at a party and thinks that she's compromised, so they are basically betrothed now. And so Pandora wants to be her own made woman. She wants to produce and design board games because Rhys, that I mentioned earlier, he owns a department store, and she's been working with him to create these board games and to sell them, and she's like, if I marry somebody, I can't do that. And the hero is so enraptured with Pandora, and they have this insane chemistry, but she's like, I don't know if I should fall for you because I want the life I want. And I really, really love this one. So much chemistry. It was just so, so good. And Gabriel is the son of Sebastian and Evie from Devil in Winter. And I love that little spin of Devil in Winter and Devil in Spring. And it was just so good. I love seeing all of those characters. Such a great romance. I just don't even know what to say. I'm just loving the Ravenel series right now. I think it is amazing. I'm on the 4th book right now. I'm really enjoying it. It is just such a great series. So many fun characters and plots. I'm just adoring it. Alright, well that is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed hearing me chat about all of the books I read in April, and I want to thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!